Hey guys, just watching that video that I posted yesterday and realized I didn't really share a couple stories that I felt were kind of important, given a reason as to why I love the CB radio in my truck. And I wanted to make a quick follow-up video just to give a couple examples of why personally I have experienced good things, or a reason, or a couple reasons, or many reasons as to why I like having a radio in the truck. So the first one that I'll share is I was over in Wyoming. Actually, I'm in Wyoming now, heading eastbound. But I was in Wyoming heading eastbound, and I was empty. And I think I was in Laramie or something. I think it was a Petro. I had done my 10-hour off-duty sleeper berth time reset, so I could work the next day. I was going to be driving a little bit and picking up a new load, I think out of North Wyoming or something, and going over to Fargo or something. And like I said, I was empty. And if anybody knows Wyoming, you know that it gets pretty windy and pretty messy. Well, it was towards the beginning of the winter season. It was actually last probably October, and this was actually right before I got out of the truck in November. But anyways, I was empty. I did my reset, and I turned on my radio. Well, didn't turn on my radio, turned up the volume on my radio, and I hear all this chatter, which is very, very abnormal for 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, well, what the heck is this? What's going on here? So I'm listening to people. I kind of get my stuff moved around and get ready to start the day. And I'm listening to these guys just talk on the radio, and I didn't know where they were. I had a pretty high powerful radio at the time, and I wasn't sure what truck stop they were at or exactly where they were located. I didn't know if it was a base station or not, but the longer I listened to them, I realized they were truck drivers, and they were talking about how the wind was so bad that morning. And I decided that I wasn't going to drive that day. And you guys might be asking, well, why wouldn't you drive? You got work to do. You gotta, get to it, right? Well, yeah, I understand that. I like to work. I like to hustle. I like to get things done. I wouldn't be doing flatbed now if that wasn't the case. But all that to say that if you guys have never really looked at the regulations or information in Wyoming, I suggest you do so. Don't take my word for it, but from my understanding and my research and the conversations that I've had, hi Stella, the conversations I've had with other drivers, anything under 21,000 pounds, Stella, go in the back. Anything under 21,000 pounds in a dry van is considered a light load in the state of Wyoming. And if you are blown over in the state of Wyoming with a load, if your bills show that it's under 21,000 pounds loaded in the box, they will actually hit you not only with the cleanup cost, you or your company, whatever, they'll actually hit you with a underweight light load charge as well. I believe, I don't quote me on this, but I do believe I was told either $500 or $5,000. So now that you know or hear, that there is a light load issue, perhaps you get a better understanding as to why I'm saying put a radio in your truck, and using that example to share with you guys, because in Wyoming, with 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds going up and down some of these hills, around some of these bends, out of the couple of the tunnels like Flaming River Gorge, Green River area, coming down and through that short little tunnel, just as you pass the hotel, you can get a quick couple, short, really strong bursts of wind, and you can be blown over in Wyoming very, very easily. 21,000 pounds is nothing. So being that I was empty, there was no way I was driving that day. There was a couple flatbeds that said that the rear end of their trailer was actually lifted up off the ground. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they were blowing smoke, but I do know that I have done the digging, and there is a light load minimum to be driving, and you can even see the signs on the overhead Amber Alert highway message systems. Light loads under certain, weight or whatever, high profile light loads or whatever, banned from the highway. They do that stuff all the time. Had I not turned on my radio or turned up the volume, had I not had a radio in my truck, I would have gone about my day and perhaps been blown over. And I'm almost willing to bet, I would almost put my weekly paycheck on the line, that there has been numerous people, including last year, a couple of years ago, on I-40 in Tennessee, where there was like 20 blowovers in a 10-mile stretch or whatever the heck it was. I'm willing to bet my paycheck that half of those, if not all of those, would have been avoided had those drivers had radios in their trucks. Just putting that out there. Second story I will share, and here's somebody pulled over with a toy hauler. Oh no, not a toy hauler, cattle hauler, and he doesn't have his four-ways on the shoulder with his lights off, so he's doing a 30 minute break. Hopefully not an 8-hour break or a 10-hour break. Hopefully he's not even doing a break. Hopefully he's actually doing an emergency stop. But anyways, the second story, I was in Virginia coming northbound, just south of White's Petro. What is it? Ravine, Virginia or something, that area. And for about 10-15 minutes I kept hearing either southbound or northbound was mentioning that there's an accident, there's a backup or something, just starting. And I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do here? Do I keep going forward? Is it going to be that bad? It might have even been longer than that. It might have even been like a half hour ahead of time, or maybe even an hour. Somebody might have keyed up and mentioned that there was a backup. I can't remember the exact circumstances. other than the fact that I had enough foreknowledge because of chatter on the radio that I was able to pull out the atlas and match it with my trucker GPS, that there was an actual way around this accident. Well, approaching the exit where I needed to get off to make a route around the backup, when I got to that exit, the traffic had just started backing up to the bridge for the overpass for the route that would have gone under and around the accident. So under the highway, and then you go take a right and you go through a couple little towns on a county road or state road or something. So literally that backup from all the way from wherever it started was already to the exit that I had planned to take for the detour if the backup was still pretty bad, because it, like I said, I think there was actually some length of time in between hearing about it and me getting to the backup. Long story short, doing a U-turn in one location because they didn't want trucks to go that way. Still taking the detour, just not a certain route of the detour. So I had to do a little U-turn with a driver and head up another way. And a bunch of people started following us, and I'm keying up on the radio, so we're running parallel with Interstate 81, and I'm chatting with a number of people that are stuck in the backup, and they said that they've been there for 2-3 hours or whatever it was, still in the same spot essentially. Then you're driving a little bit more north, and I'm hearing people chattering, and there's people that are calling home or listening to the local police scanner or something. Somebody basically found out that there was a fatality on the highway. The accident was a fatality. Now, if you guys have ever been on the interstate or a county road or a state road that has detour capabilities and capacities, and or if the accident is bad enough, needs to be investigated enough, and there is a fatality, they will actually shut everything down. I've actually been on the interstate before, and they've shut both the north and southbound lanes down completely because there was 2 fatalities with a vehicle that crashed, hit the wall, flipped over the Jersey barrier, and crashed into another vehicle on the opposite coming traffic, and that caused a fatality as well. And there was actually also a secondary accident on the frontage road that people were going to be taking a detour. So the fatality shut down the interstate. Then there was another accident on the frontage road that stopped traffic on the frontage road on the west side, I think it was. And there was another frontage road over on the east side. And not too far from that, there was a Pilot Flying J right by a refinery. I can't remember if that was Montana, North Dakota. It was over in that area. Maybe Nebraska. I can't remember exactly where it was. Anyways, at that point, there was nothing that you could do. Even chatter on the radio was saying that you're basically screwed. There's nowhere to go. There's a couple frontage roads, Well, thankfully I was able to get off on the frontage road and make my way to the Pilot Flying J. I had like 4 hours left on my drive clock, and I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna park. So anyways, those fatalities, those accidents, those shutdowns on the interstate, they happen. And we need to be listening to the radio, because it's going to benefit us if we hear something soon enough. Even clicking on Google, at that point, if you hear a report of an accident, clicking on Google and finding out where it is, and if there's a state route next to it. Typically, most state routes you're going to be able to drive on as a truck, unless you're an oversized load or a hazmat. Some state routes don't allow hazmat because there's tunnels, bridges that are sensitive or whatever. So obviously you got to pay attention. Get out the atlas if you got one. If you don't, please get an atlas as well. I know I said this was going to be just a quick follow-up video, but I wanted to share a couple reasons, a couple experiences that I've had. Fatalities on the highway, that high wind, listening to people on the radio. I potentially not only saved my life, but I saved my company a crap ton of money from getting a fine had I been blown over. And there's no doubt in my mind I would have been blown over. An empty dry van is a wind sail, and you will go over. I've started to be blown over with like a 30,000 pound load in a dry van before, and that's no bull crap. That's straight up. It's come to, the trailer's leaning like this, and thankfully I was able to correct it and mosey on down the road, and I parked the trailer, parked the truck. So anyways, yeah, just a quick follow-up video. I apologize if it's gone on a little too long, but we got to share these experiences and help teach and guide some others that might save some lives and save some headache, save some money. So we appreciate you guys out there doing what you're doing what I'm doing. Excuse me. Without us, the world stops. It comes to a halt. So be safe, be smart. Put a radio in your truck, for real. Put a radio in your truck. And if you need some guidance or whatever on what radio or how to do it, what to set up, what antennas to run, how to tune it, CB shops to go to, just drop a message, a comment in the video, and we can start a dialogue, and I can help you with that. If you like the content, if you appreciate the information, like and subscribe, and maybe share with your friends. We'll see what happens here. I'd like to get this information out there to people, because I really feel like there's a lack of mentorship out there in the industry right now. So peace. We love you guys. Be safe, and just do what you got to do, but do it the right way out here. All right. So Libertarian Trucker signing out.